So, welcome to Nick's Nerd Network. I'm Nick, and we're going to be talking about one of my new favorite series on here, and it's going to be called Pokemon Raves and Rants, where I talk about the Pokemon that have had an impact over the course of my life, my childhood, and the course of me loving Pokemon. And let's get started with Generation 1. So, one of the Pokemon I want to talk to you about, and probably one of the most important, impactful Pokemon that can be any trainers, is who was your first Pokemon? My first Pokemon that I ever chose in a game, I got the red game, the original, and I chose Bulbasaur as my first Pokemon. And you might ask, what are some other reasons that this is an impactful Pokemon on me? And I have a lot of strong feelings about this Pokemon because when I was playing the games when I was younger, I started the game, got my Bulbasaur, thought he was super cute. All my cousins and brother, they all had Squirtles or Charmanders, but I was different. I chose Bulbasaur. And you know what happened? Do you know what happened? My cousin, my older cousin, she was a little bit bossy. Love her to death, but she was a little bit bossy. And she reset my game and told me that I had to pick the Pokemon that was on the box of the game that I had. So she reset my game. She gave me Charmander, which I still love. Charmander and Charizard are one of my favorite Pokemon. But it's something heartbreaking when you think back and your very first Pokemon really didn't even get a chance. I mean, I raised Bulbasaur in later games, but he was very special to me, and I am a little bit bitter about it. Alright, so it's time for one of our first rants. And I'm going to talk about this Pokemon. You may not feel the same way as me. I honestly didn't have a problem with this Pokemon until Pokemon Go. And that Pokemon is, wait for it, Butterfree. Now, some of you might ask, why do I have such strong hate towards Butterfree? And I really don't, like, as a Pokemon by itself, but I hope my roommate doesn't hate me for talking about this, but I would always get so frustrated. Me and my roommate would go, play some Pokemon Go, we'd take down a gym, Team Valor is really intense. It's hard to take down their gyms sometimes, especially in the early days of Pokemon Go, where there could be 10 Pokemon and they could all be Blissey. Yeah, so we'd work really, really hard, we'd take down the gym, and I'd put in something strong that would actually defend for a while, like another Blissey, or a Snorlax, or a Vaporeon before they got nerfed, and my roommate would put in a Butterfree. And it was so upsetting, because at that time, the longer you kept a Pokemon in the gym, the more money you collected. Those Butterfrees. And it was always so easy to take down, and I'd get so frustrated. And he makes fun of me for it all the time, talking about how he's putting Butterfrees in the gym. He does it to bug me. Love him to death, but Butterfrees are kind of the bane of my existence in Pokemon Go, mostly because of my roommate. Now, let's talk about He Who Must Not Be Evolved. Yes, that's it, Pikachu. Now, I think that Pikachu is a kind of I can't even say Pikachu. Pikachu is kind of a controversial Pokemon because there's a lot of people who really love it because it's the mascot of the Pokemon franchise. I mean, let's be real. Poor Clefairy got the short end of the stick because Clefairy was supposed to be the Pokemon mascot of the Pokemon franchise, but Pikachu got it. I mean, yes, he was more appealing to both genders. I think Clefairy would have hurt the franchise maybe a little bit, especially in those early days. But the thing I really can't stand about Pikachu is everyone's obsession with it. I mean, aren't we sick to death of this yellow Pokemon that has not changed at all other than its attacks? And let's talk about its eating disorder. It keeps getting skinnier and skinnier with every generation. I mean, what Pokemon wants to live up to those dietary standards and those like model-like figures? No. Pikachu, I liked you better when you were fat. And the other thing is, Pikachu is honestly pretty terrible in the games. I don't ever remember a time where I've fully raised a Pikachu throughout the entire game and was not disappointed. That was probably the main reason I didn't get Pokemon Yellow, because I thought I had to raise a Pikachu, and I did not want one. I don't have time for that. I want a Pokemon that I can evolve, and it can make it rough and tough. There's so many better electric types out there, like Jolteon. Now, another Pokemon that I think's really underrated is the Krabby and Kingler line. I feel like I never see people actually using these Pokemon unless they like get them in the beginning of the game, just have a water type. But it was a really cool Pokemon. What was great about it is they learned a lot of ground moves, some pretty powerful KO moves, and it was something you could get pretty early on, and I loved this Pokemon. I mean, I never used it in my early on games, but kind of later on, when Pokemon started getting some more diverse attacks and moves, probably like generations 3 and 4, like this Pokemon was a staple on some of my teams. I loved Krabby and Kingler, and he's got a cool design. I've actually debated doing some cosplays revolving around Kingler, and it's just a really cool Pokemon. Now, Seadra is also a very important Pokemon to me. Now, I love water types. They're some of my favorite Pokemon. I just love the designs, especially Generation 1 had some of the best looking water type Pokemon of all time. Again, I'm not a Gen 1er. I promise I do love other Pokemon, but there was something about the designs of the Pokemon in Gen 1 that I really loved, and Seadra is one of them. And Seadra, I actually did a cosplay where I made armor of a warrior who was based on Seadra, and you can see that over here, or over here, whichever side I decide to put it on. But yeah, I really love that Pokemon, just its design, the spikes, the scales, the simplicity / complexities of this design. I just loved it a lot. Now, another Pokemon that I have on this list is Mew. Mew was one of those really special legendary Pokemon that you really couldn't get in the main series games unless you used some sort of codes or knew somebody, and there was all these urban legends about how to get Mew. Like, you'd hear, oh, like this kid down the street, he caught a Mew and he did this, this, and this, and then you try to do that, and then you find out they tricked you into resetting your game, or they give you a glitch in your system. Anyone remember the glitch? Yeah, over on Cinnabar Island? Yeah. Certain one you caught and it would ruin your game. And there was just all these urban legends about how to catch one, and I feel like most people never actually got one, even though they said they did, unless they had like a Game Shark or some sort of code or some sort of, I don't know how anyone got one. I never got one, or they would say you had to like surf around the SS Anne and there was a truck and he was hiding under. I never successfully was able to do it. I just remember all those rumors about how to get a Mew, and it was just that infamous Pokemon that no one had but everyone wanted. Now, this is a segment I like to call Who's That Waste of Space? And these are Pokemon that I feel absolutely nothing about. I don't care about them. They could disappear or go extinct, and I don't think I would care. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know in the comment section below. I mean, don't be awful or troll me, but I feel like these are Pokemon that really didn't have much impact on anyone. So, one of those Pokemon is Tangela. I mean, look at this thing. And even in later generations, when they made it evolve, it was still pretty useless. I don't think I can think of a single person who ever was like, oh my gosh, Tangela was my favorite Pokemon. It really didn't even learn that strong of moves. You got it way too late in the game for it to be a viable grass-type Pokemon. It was just so basic. I mean, it wasn't even a challenge fighting it as a gym leader. I mean, it was pretty much a filler to give you a breather between Victory Bell and Vileplume. Now, that's just a few of the Gen 1 Pokemon that I have strong feelings about. There was quite a few, so I'm going to break this up into an actual series. So we're going to do a part 2 and part 3 of the Generation 1 Pokemon, or the original 151, and which ones I feel strongly about. So stay tuned till next time. Until then, this is Nick signing off. Bye! Hi, if you like this episode of Nickster Network, please like and subscribe, or visit our new channel. And when you're on the new channel, check out my new banner. That was made by my friend Jesse. Please check out his website. He's really talented, and I'll leave the link in the description. He's great for all of your graphic design needs.